What's up everyone? I'm Chris. I'm a motorsport photographer, and as we get to the end of 2022, I wanted to go over my top 10 moments from the year in my motorsport photography. Enjoy. Okay, so starting with number 10, we go back to the New England Forest Rally in July of this year, to the very last stage, North Road. Towards the end of the stage, there's this really long uphill after a basically 90-degree right through a spectator section. In addition to that, we had a sun that was getting lower, and we also had tons of dust. After that long uphill, there was this big right turn. Ken Block and Brandon Semenuk, as they were fighting for the lead of the rally, were going to be really pushing it coming through that turn. So I made the decision to start by photographing the top cars at that turn and then move down the stage just a little bit to be able to capture that uphill. Okay, now number 9 on my top 10 moments of 2022 was definitely Nitro Rallycross in Minnesota in October. These tracks that they race on are just unbelievable, and to see them in person, to see ERX Motor Park in person, and to see the undulations and elevation changes and the jumps and just the scale of the track was just crazy. Starting with the side-by-side on this rallycross style track, to see just the battles that were going on was really cool to photograph. And then of course at the top level, the FC1X, the all-electric Nitro Rallycross spec race car built by Olsberg MSC. Seeing this purpose-built car with just loads of power, loads of suspension travel, the way it can just change direction, it was incredible to see those in person. It's really something you have to see to believe. I love Nitro Rallycross. I really hope the popularity of that series continues to grow. Okay, number 8 on my top 10 moments from 2022 was the Ojibwe Forest Rally podium celebration. Rally logistics are really difficult for media. We obviously can't be at every stage, we can't be at every spot. So when we're planning our movement plan, as it's called, we have to pick locations that we can get to and plan around the time that we're going to be spending in those locations. Now, previous rallies, when it gets to the end of the rally, I always prioritize getting more shots of the cars on stage, say the last stage, over getting to the podium. And because of the logistics of Ojibwe, the podium celebration was actually a short walk from the second to last stage, which is where I was shooting. And so I made the podium celebration start to finish, and it was just amazing. First time I've been able to shoot an entire podium celebration, and it's just really cool to see these competitors, after putting so much into the rallies, multiple days of competition and then multiple days of prep, and just to see that emotional release, it was really inspiring, and it made me think about more the human side of the sport. Definitely something I'm going to try to do more, is to make those podium celebrations. Number 7 on my top moments of the year takes me to Sebring International Raceway for the 12 Hours of Sebring in March of this year. Track photography is not something I'm super practiced in. In addition to that, it was incredibly hot. I was really sick. Also, when I got to Sebring and I walked around as a fan, not as a credentialed photographer, I was kind of disappointed with the lack of vantage points that I had from a photography perspective. So I got some decent shots from the event, nothing too crazy, but one shot I'm particularly proud of. So this event was just weeks after this horrific invasion of Ukraine by Russia started. And one of the LMP2 teams, Dragon Sport, dedicated some prime sponsor real estate on their car to display a simple message that said, "Support Ukraine." Doesn't go unnoticed. I mean, that was, like I said, prime sponsor real estate for them. And for them to put that message on there and run a 12-hour race with it was just so cool. And to be able to capture this moment for them, to be able to share this, I think was just so cool. I think as this war between Russia and Ukraine goes on, we need to continue to stand with Ukraine and stand up for democracy and people's rights, whether it be in Ukraine and elsewhere around the world. And motorsport can be a platform for that. And I thought it was really a good gesture for Dragon Speed to do that with their car. And again, I'm glad I got this photo of it.
The sun will shine, yeah.
Number 6 on my top 10 moments of 2022 takes me to Olympus Rally in Washington back in April. With rally photography, you have one chance to shoot each car at each spot you get to. There's no do-overs. We tend to try to look for spots that can produce more than one shot. Now, whether that means I can stand in one place and get multiple shots from that one spot, or I could start standing in one particular spot and have easy access to another spot if that doesn't work out. Huge preference for that. Even better if it's a stage that's going to be run twice back to back, if I can mix up the shots. There was this corner I found on the Nawatsel stage at Olympus where it was this kind of long winding straight going through a gate to basically to another property, and then a right turn into a long perfect straight. It was really cool to be able to see the cars coming down the straight, kicking up dust. It was a very dusty stage. They were coming out of the damp woods into this area that was illuminated by the sun to come through that gate, and then some of them, especially at the top, were coming sideways around that corner. And oh, by the way, there was a puddle at the apex of the corner. So I set up right at the apex of the corner trying to get some puddle shots. As more and more of the field came, I moved to this spot next to that gate I was talking about where I was able to be below the road surface. It's fortunately protected by rocks and trees, so it's not as dangerous as it looks, but I'm below the road surface, which is a rare angle to get in rally. So I'm super happy with these shots. These are some of my favorite shots from the whole year. These cars coming at me, kicking up dust at that low angle. And then the second running of the stage, I moved across the sort of puddle corner up onto a rock at an elevated angle. I don't usually love these elevated angles, but this one worked out pretty well. I had to be pretty far zoomed in, but I was happy with this. I actually got off the rock, moved back, and was shooting into the setting sun with all the dust and everything. This whole corner made the rally for me for sure. Number 5 out of my top 10 moments from 2022. Again, back to New England Forest Rally. In rally, there's a process called recce, or reconnaissance. And this is where the drivers drive the stage roads at street legal speeds, not using their race car, to create their note. The notes at which they will be driving at insane speeds in their race car when it comes to the actual competition. So it's their way to kind of prepare notes, and that's what you hear from the co-driver to the driver when they're driving the stage. For media, we also like to do recce, and we like to find spots to shoot from and really scout it out. For New England, I was with a group of other photographers, one of which was my buddy Noah, and the whole time through recce, he kept saying he wanted to shoot a downhill S-turn. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's cool, but why set your mind on this specific type of turn? And we found one. And not only did we find one, but there were some amazing vantage points around this S-turn. So it was this sort of pretty steep downhill S into another series of flat S-turns, and there were multiple spots that we could shoot from. Again, another corner corner where I could get multiple shots from one corner. So I stood up in this sort of embankment, shooting between some trees, and then I also had a remote camera set up looking at the cars coming down the turns. Super happy with the results. You know, Noah was right. This turned out to be a good spot.
Down on someone else. No reason to be satisfied. No way in hell I'm gonna die. Leave me alone and I'll be
All right, number 4 on my top 10 moments of 2022, back to February of this year, Team O'Neill Rally School for the SCCA New England Region Rally Sprint. It was the Into the Darkness Rally Sprint. It started sort of late afternoon and went into the night. It was cold. It was snowy, icy, freezing cold. I was recovering from a pretty long fight with COVID, so I had this kind of COVID fog going on, and I didn't have any lung capacity. So it was a pretty tough event to shoot, but there is this really cool uphill at Team O'Neill that kind of crests into a jump, and I wasn't really sure how hard the teams were going to send it over this jump given the snow, but this was towards the end of daylight, so they had actually run the jump multiple times and got used to it. Set up my remote camera right next to the apex of the jump, and I got some epic results, particularly driver Mike White in his old Saab, just absolutely sending it to the moon. I love this photo. It didn't come out perfectly crisp or well exposed, but there's definitely a lot of drama and kinetic energy from that angle and in this shot. And to top it off, Saab's slogan at one point in the life of Saab was "born from jets." So it was just this really cool moment to capture. This photo I took so early in the year, it really just got me pumped up for the season and pumped up for more photography. So number 3 of my top 10 moments of 2022, being able to see Hoonigan and Ken Block in this World Rally Championship car, this Hyundai i20 WRC throughout the season was just amazing. It was just so awesome to be able to witness that car, the livery, that's one of my favorite liveries that I've seen on a rally car, and to hear it, to photograph it, to experience that car, and to see how that really pushed Subaru as well. You know, you have Barry McKenna bringing a WRC car to the American stages last year that pushed Subaru, and now you have this car that pushed Subaru even further. So the battle at the top between Ken and Brandon Semenuk was just incredible to watch, and I feel so fortunate, lucky to have been able to be there and capture these moments. Number 2 in my top 10 moments of 2022 takes me to Ojibwe Forest Rally in Minnesota in August of this year. There is this famous height of land stage where it has a land bridge going between two lakes. I went into the rally not wanting to photograph this spot because I felt like everyone's done it and it's hard to find a unique shot. But once I got there during the recce, I decided that I had to do it. And there's a puddle at the apex of this turn through the land bridge. And right away, the first car that comes through, giant splash coming through sideways. It was so cool, so photogenic, and it was like, okay, this is gonna be great. But after a couple of cars, it sort of started to feel more and more dangerous. And we kept saying, someone's gonna slide into that lake.
Oh shit.
Oh, who's going for a swim? I'm a fraction.
We were in total shock. We didn't know what to do. And the moments that followed were sort of these chaotic, really tense moments of trying to figure out, are they okay? Is that car gonna sink?
Is nobody stopping the cars?
Somebody get. Yeah, the last thing you want is another car to go up, land on top of them.
This was just a crazy moment to be a part of and to capture and to really relay to other people who weren't there.
No, I don't.
And my number 1 moment from 2022, going back to New England Forest Rally in 2021, I captured a once-in-a-lifetime shot. Fortunately, Sean and Brendan were okay. They turned out to be awesome dudes that I've kept in touch with since then. They're big supporters of my work, but I always had this guilt. I had success due to their misfortune. And these were great guys that worked really hard to get this car into the rally, and just 2 stages into the rally, they wind up like that. And then this photo gets plastered all over the internet. Coming into 2022, one of the moments that I wrote down at the beginning of the year that I wanted to be there for was I wanted to get a shot of them in action that wasn't them crashing over this bridge. At New England Forest Rally in July, Sean and Brendan did make their return. It was a crazy tough return to even just get the car there, and then it was a really hard event for them. They had a number of nagging issues and it just didn't really go well for them. They still got there, they competed, they slayed that demon of that guardrail on the bridge. I was able to get shots of it, and I felt so good to be able to send those to Sean and Brendan after the race and say, here's some shots I took of you that aren't you crashing. Definitely look forward to catching them more in action moving forward. So that's it. That's my top 10 moments from 2022 from my own motorsport photography work. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who has supported my work, whether it be on social media or bought my photos or just dropped nice comments. It means a lot, and I'm already looking forward to what'll come in 2023. Thank you.